something, man.
Want to hear a mortgage joke while we're waiting?
Yes, I would love to.
All right. The bank wants to repossess my treehouse. They said I haven't kept up on my mortgage payments. I'm convinced it's a mix-up from when I moved branches.
I would just tell them to leave you alone.
That's a great.
Yeah, tell them to leave you alone.
There you go. Okay, we got some comedians in the,
That's
in the
some good.
office.
That's a good one. Yes,
I signed John.
they called to bark at you about your loan.
I'm gonna go
Not
out
as
on
good
a
as
limb,
Lee.
but that's
You're gonna go out on a limb, but that was
Why couldn't SpongeBob get a mortgage?
Ooh, why couldn't SpongeBob get? Why couldn't SpongeBob get a mortgage? He was. Why, Michael?
Because his house was underwater.
House was underwater.
Okay, I'm done.
Why do they call the sport golf?
Why do they call it golf? Why do they call it golf?
It's all the other 4-letter words we take.
4-letter words. Ooh, we got some more folks.
All kinds of people in it.
Yeah. Almost on time, too. Awesome. Hey, Luke. Hey, Monica. Monica was here on time for sure.
I tried. Everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're close enough. I usually give people about 5 minutes.
Hey, I was in the waiting room for about 45 seconds. Okay, so I was only
Which
15 seconds late.
It's actually kind of record time for me. I'm always forgetting because it puts it up on the other screen. All right. All right, we got Dale and Armando and Linda joining us. Can everybody hear the music?
No music.
No music on Zoom?
It's just
Of course not. Only people here. That's so silly. It's like I can only do, oh, share sound. There we go. Now we hear it?
Everybody's.
Okay.
Yep, can you hear it?
It's not that bad. It's fun. It's catchy. I just decided it wasn't a country day. I was playing that earlier. It's very good. I love the new Taylor Swift, but it is a little dark. It made me feel a little under the weather. I don't know. I need something positive in my life. Oh. Russ, what was that book, the blue one, by the author died last year. It's really tragic, but he had this section on like the elements you allow into your life, and part of it was Travis Moad, and he was saying some country music is all about like losing the wife and the dog and the truck. And
have you ever heard the song "What You Get When You Play a Country Song
backwards? I have heard it.
Dog back, your house back, your wife back.
But it's one of those things where it's like what you let into your life eventually can kind of seep into it. And the new Taylor Swift album is going to have to be like small doses for me. It's super good. Love the songwriting, but it's like I'm just not there. I can't relate anymore. I'm not Taylor Swift, you know. I'm almost as tall as Taylor Swift, but okay, cool. Let's get rolling into it. All right, welcome everybody to the October 25th, 2022 edition of the team meeting. They call it team meeting. We call it sales rally. Whatever. I could change that in the slide if I was more prepared. We got our Y4C2Ts, our belief system. Everybody ready? Warmed up? So with me now, win-win or no deal. Integrity, do the right thing. Customers always come first. Commitment in all things. Communication, seek first to understand. Creativity, ideas before results. Teamwork, together everyone achieves more. Trust starts with honesty, equity, opportunities for all, and success results through people. All right, I think in office had it this time. Zoom won last week, but that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Thanks everybody for joining me on that. Let's hop over to bucket fills. And does anybody want to? It doesn't have to be the Y4C2Ts, but anybody got a bucket they'd like to fill today? Zoom or here? Sarah Lopman, Ashley Blakely.
Killing it with being a great resource for brevity.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah, for sure.
I've gotten to overhear a lot of the conversations, and sometimes I'm kind of jealous. I kind of wish I was working with Ashley on brevity. We could have a meeting. I've learned some of the brevity platform. If you guys have tech questions, Ashley and I can kind of switch off on that. But yeah, she's definitely your go-to gal for brevity leads, which is an amazing program. I'm really excited to get that's up and running now. If anybody out there is like, what's brevity leads? We'll have a slide later that'll help me remember to talk about it. But thank you, JR. Let's get Maria in here. But if anybody is confused by that, is like, what is that? Definitely reach out to myself or Ashley. We'll get you connected there. Yeah, any more bucket fills? Anybody else feeling bucket filly? Lisa, yes. Who? For me. Ooh, I don't know if you guys can. Oh, thank you. In case those of you on Zoom couldn't hear it, Lisa is very appreciative that I'm always here to help. I'm appreciative that JR is always here to help me remember that people are trying to get into the Zoom meeting.
Notifications drive me nuts, so I can't have.
Yes, well, thank you. You're the perfect person to be sitting there. Awesome. Any more bucket fills? Anybody feeling bucket Philly? Is that an adjective I can use? Bucket Philly, bucket Philadelphia. Russ.
I would like to say to Tom and Marcia as a team, but Marcia told me the other day, Tom spends about 20 to 30 hours preparing for contracts class. At a minimum every week, just
Yeah.
diving deep and getting it organized. I mean,
I can vouch for that. I go in there on Monday some days and his hair's on fire and yeah.
Yeah.
well,
He burned his hair clean off right down the middle.
yeah,
Awesome. And I
that's
could,
a good
yeah.
thing, you know, that helps everybody and that's success for all people, right? So we're lucky to have somebody that takes it serious and the world of contracts is a big world for us. right?
Yep.
Always
And
learning.
in case you didn't know, that's right after this. So I would second that for sure. My whole career in real estate has been contracts and operations. And I can say, having spent going on 3 years looking at people's contracts, I learn something new every single time. And so you're never too knowledgeable to learn. I think that's where we get into trouble sometimes, when we feel that way. So, and I get it, we're all very busy, but if you've got an opportunity to sit in on a contracts class, regardless of where you're at in your career, highly recommend it.
And just remind them they're on YouTube, right? So they don't catch them.
Yep. And we do get them up on YouTube, and yeah, try to get that done the next day. The video encoding is slow sometimes, but yeah, that is definitely something I recommend. All right, so speaking of Tom, we got a birthday coming up here Saturday, October 29th. We got a happy birthday hat. Look at that. It's really fancy, really cool. Yeah, so we got Tom Brasher and Dale Chapman coming up on Monday, October 31st, Halloween. Anyways, yeah, that's going to be a spooky birthday. Love it. So yeah, also want to big congratulations to Gavin Johnson for capping on company dollar. Yeah, he and Brooke get to be capped there. And speaking of that, let's look at our top five. So we got Gavin and Brooke Johnson at 39.3 million almost, Lisa Boyle at 23.3, Brian at 14.2, Jeff Holman at 11.6, and Russ McClellan at 10.6. That's our top five. Great job, guys. We're heading towards the end of a great year, and love to see it all. As we mentioned before during bucket fills, brevity platform. If you are looking for more leads so that you can get out and do the work that you know you're supposed to do, this is a great opportunity for you. It's no cost up front to you except for the amount of time it takes to learn the program, which having used several CRMs before and other lead generating platforms, I will say this one is not nearly the hardest to learn. And I would say it's really easy. They've got a lot of great resources. They've got a fun little point system, I believe, for learning the program. So If you want more information about that, reach out to myself or Ashley Blakely, and we can get you set up on that. One thing I wanted to cover today, this can be fun, but also it's going to be a learning opportunity. I wanted to talk about settlement statements. What are they? What to look for, and the common pitfalls around settlement statements. And Ashley had an example of one recently. I don't know, Ashley, if you wanted to take it away, but
Can Zoom people hear me? Cause I'm quiet.
Yeah.
Great.
awesome.
So I have a deal where I'm working with Wells Fargo, which I was a little nervous about at first, but the loan officer was actually great. So I'll give you his name. If
Awesome.
your buyer wants to use them. But then I reviewed the settlement statement and it showed we had an $831 appraisal fee when we waived our appraisal. So that was fun. I mean, their response was, good catch, we'll take it off. So I just, that's one of the things to look out for. I haven't really had that happen before. But I think that's the importance of looking before your deal closes, because I know some escrow officers don't send it to you right away. Sometimes you have to request it. So.
Yep.
My advice.
Absolutely. Yep. And I would say settlement statements are up there with title reports. Do not just treat them as a compliance thing, right? So if you get this in and you're like, okay, great, one more thing I can upload to command and I can get my check and we're good to go. That's not how I would treat it. So if you've got a deal underway, you get this settlement statement and it's usually the week of closing, right? It's and you'll get an estimated settlement statement and then your clients will sign a final settlement statement. But what to look for on there is any seller concessions. That's a big deal. Hopefully you're catching those when you go mutual, right? If your sellers don't know that they're giving up part of their proceeds to the buyer, that's a big deal. But also check to make sure they're on there, right? Sometimes your buyers are relying on those concessions, and if they're not on the settlement statement, they don't exist. So make sure that everybody is signing a good and accurate settlement statement. Go over those with your clients. Appraisal is a common pitfall there. Either it is on there when it's not supposed to be, or it's more than the lender said it would be, right? And so checking in with those things, making sure those things are accurate, because that's part of the signing. So, a day or two before closing, the seller and the buyer are going to come in and sign that settlement statement. And it's really, really difficult after closing to walk back any of those items, right? That is the very official document that says what's what. So if you've got home warranties is another common one, right? If you are providing the buyer with a home warranty and it's coming out of commissions, if it's not on that settlement statement, you're going to have to figure that out after the fact, and that changes how things get taxed. So it could be as small as that, or it could be huge things. Yeah.
The last one I had a big mistake on it. Commissions.
Yep.
It was really a huge mistake.
Yeah, that's another thing. And that's all the agents' ears perk up here. Your commissions, right? Okay. That settlement statement is going to have what that check amount is going to be. If it says it on the settlement statement, that's the amount the check's going to get cut for, right? So look over that. That's more, for you, but also, do go over it and make sure everything that's agreed to is on there. So yeah, any other questions about settlement statements? Anybody else have any weird ones that they are just dying to discuss?
I'd say on the listing side, it's really important as a lender, because if you're using those funds to close, so let's say you're selling your house and you're going to net 40 grand. You can actually use that $40,000 settlement statement as your asset verification. So you're not providing bank statements or anything. It's just, we're going to use that because that's what you're going to get. So if you get a settlement statement that, so I know I heard someone say commission, I just had this happen a couple of days ago where the settlement statement came in about 9 grand higher than what it should have been. Luckily, the agent caught that their commission on the sales side, on the listing side, wasn't on there. So we were able to make that adjustment. But if you guys are listing homes and you have buyers that are buying homes, something that you could do is just get an estimated settlement statement for them right away, because the lender is going to need one regardless if they're using those funds. And then that's when you guys can kind of make sure, okay, seller credits, our commission, appraisals, all that kind of stuff, everything that needs to be on there. So it can be as accurate as possible, because when that happens, if that settlement statement comes in lower then what we approved them at, we have to now get them reapproved. And if they're short funds, now we have to verify more funds if that settlement statement comes in less. So it's extremely important on the lender's side to make sure that that's accurate if for someone that's selling a home.
Yep, absolutely. And I would say just a bit of a housekeeping note, especially if you're new to Command or you haven't used Command to input your commission in a while. That's what Kelly and the brokerage here uses to generate those broker demands so that the escrow company knows what your commission is going to be. If they go a certain amount of time and they just don't get it, they could issue that settlement statement without your commission on there. Generally, they'll start bugging you for it because they know they're not supposed to do that. But that's why it's important to get it in sooner rather than later so that we can correct these issues quickly. So if you're new to Command or you haven't used it in a while to put your commissions or your documents in there, reach out to me. Happy to help you get that done. But yep, that's that. I wanted to make this a regular thing. So help me find a home. If you've got a buyer that you're having trouble finding the right fit for, or on the other side, if you're, a listing agent who's been working with sellers and they're not sure about listing and you think you've got an off-market opportunity or something that's expired or canceled that they're like, we want to keep it off the market for a while, but they might still be open to selling. We want to help you guys connect. So does anybody have a particular buyer that is maybe looking for a specific kind of home and they're like not finding it, or they're looking in a specific area that it's just, you're getting crickets, right? There's either nothing there or what's there won't work for them. Anybody? Anybody on Zoom? Yeah. Does anybody want to give an example? No? Any examples? Yeah.
I think my clients are just very picky.
Very picky.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're just struggling with
But-
decision making.
How about you, Ashley?
Yeah, so I have buyers looking in Quincy. We looked at the listing on Redmond, forget the address. But it was like 2,000 square feet, 2,000-ish. And they want, pretty new, open concept, bigger, that one, the bathroom wasn't big enough. I thought it was big, but, and then the kitchen drawers weren't soft close. So if you have,
That's a very expensive
Yes.
fix.
the bathroom was the bigger one, so anyways, but yeah, if anybody has anything out there that's not listed,
Out in Quincy.
yeah, do deals.
Okay.
So,
And yeah, I would recommend anybody, like if any of these examples we share, if you like a light bulb goes off and you're like, oh yeah, no, I definitely have something that might fit that. Connect with each other after sales rally. But I just wanted to put that out there. And I think weekly, we're going to start doing that. We should definitely leverage our networks to try and find things for our buyers. It's going to become increasingly more important as everybody draws back and reassesses what they're doing in real estate to kind of get back into the habit of turning over rocks, right? Finding unique opportunities for people. So if anybody else has any trouble finding something for their buyer, you can always reach out to me. We can put it out there to people and see if we can find those opportunities, because it's going to be important for us to get creative, right? That's one of our creativities, one of our Y4C2T beliefs is ideas before results. I think you get results because of ideas.
And
Yes.
Loren, that really, with the new change in the Form 21 about commission, that concept is a great tool to use as a script in getting buyer agency agreements signed. So, as an example, you're sitting with a buyer and they're like, I don't think I want to sign this buyer agency agreement. And it's really just about, well, do you want me to go ask everybody that I know if there's something that might, that fits your needs that may not be on the market? I often start with, do you think that every person that's selling a home has it on the web? I'll just start right there. I'll say, hey, is every listing, is every home, every seller that will sell today on the web? Right there, you'll discover what they know or don't know. Because often they'll be like, well, I think so. And I've, you know what? I grew up in a small town, and John the farmer doesn't want anybody to know that he's willing to sell, because Sally's in Guild, and all her friends at Guild will give her such a hard time that she's going to stress out and create anxiety. So he's like, the hell of it, I'm not going to list it. But Russ, go find me the right buyer. So when you're talking to those buyers, you go, if you sign a buyer agency agreement for you, I can unlock expireds, canceled, and my network of the largest real estate company in North Central Washington to help us find you that home through this network that you would otherwise never see if you're out there looking on your own. Is that a valuable opportunity for you? Yes or no?
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, that concept of sharing information, we're not talking about pre-marketing because they're not listed.
Right. If you don't have a signed listing agreement, it's not pre-marketed.
But we all know people that have said, hey, if you bring me a buyer, I'll sell.
Yeah.
Anyway, something to think.
Yeah. That's definitely something. Kathy, did you have something to add?
Well, I want to make sure I can say this without saying, but I plan as my selling my own place.
Yes.
So I think I could say that because it would be,
It's not listed.
it's
Yeah.
not listed, but I have to wait till March because of capital gains, but
Right.
you know, I'll be moving next month into my new house, but I'll be listing this one in early March. So
Perfect.
how much I can say or not say, but
You can say anything you want until it's listed.
That's
Once
what
that
I would say.
paperwork's signed, then you can't go
well,
without,
but I will do it as a real estate.
right, without putting
Yes.
it in the MLS, you can't talk about it. That's the pre-marketing. So
Right.
a pocket listing is I got a listing from someone, whether it's yours or somebody else's. And I'm gonna work it for a couple of weeks, trying to find a buyer so I can get a dual agency and double the commission and or I'm gonna tell just certain select people. That's what's against the MLS rules. But until there's a contract, there's nothing wrong with talking about people that might sell.
Especially if you've got specific buyers that are interested in that. That's off-market deals happen all the time, and as agents, it depends on who we represent, but they're definitely possible. And
You're a for sale by owner
Yeah.
until there's a listing.
Yep, it's the listing agreement that establishes the relationship between you and the MLS and your client.
Exactly. It's a
Right,
good
so-
question, though.
Yeah,
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, so if somebody had a buyer, it's not listed, but
You'd sell it.
Yep.
I'd be selling it.
Perfect. Awesome.
What size home is that?
About 1,600 square feet. It's in a gated community with pickleball, pool,
Ooh,
golf, putting green.
you had me at
basketball
pickleball.
court. You have four children.
I have 4 children. They would love
3
the
bedrooms.
pickleball. Okay, awesome. So we're gonna make that a habit. We're gonna be going over that. I want to open it up to Michael Marr here and the mortgage minute.
Cool. All right. I'm gonna start off. I got just 3 things to talk about. A couple new products, not new. One of them's newer. The other one has been around for a little while, but I wanted to draw attention to it because it just popped up. Bank statement loans. So we do have a few of these. This particular one I really like. You can have a 680 credit score, 20% down minimum, 2 years after foreclosure, short sale, or bankruptcy. So that timeline gets cut down for this particular loan. No tax returns are required. Loans up to 3 million, a 2-year self-employed required, and then a minimum of 20% down on second home and investment properties. And we have these on either 12 or 24 months. So basically these are for, realtors like them, but other people that are self-employed that may have tax returns that show big losses. We don't have to even look at them. We can just turn around and look at their bank statements and their monthly cash flow and determine how they are qualified based on that. So it's a pretty cool program. Another one that we have is called an investor cash flow. So it's an investment loan that stands on its own merits, meaning we don't need any personal income, no employment needed. We do need to run credit, minimum of 680, up to 25%, minimum of 25% down. There is a 40-year fixed rate interest only option available, and it qualifies the home or qualifies the loan on just the 1007 on an appraisal. So that just means the appraiser comes in and determines what the fair market rent is for that particular home. And if it stands on its own merits, you can write the loan basically, meaning it can kind of self-generate enough income to support the loan in itself. So these are just a couple things. They're not going to be the best fit for everybody, but bank statement loans are great for people that are self-employed. And this investor cash flow, if you're looking for someone and maybe the same type of thing, we don't need any personal income, therefore we don't need tax returns. So this, if you need to get into a home and you can always refinance later, and these can be some good options. Any questions on that?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
investor cash flow,
Yeah.
4plex, one of them's a live-in. Like the landlord lives in one. Is there house hacking that can be done with these?
I will check. This I know is very specific to, oh, also, sorry, I'll answer the question, but this can also be done with LLCs. So if you have an LLC and you want to purchase the investment property, you can do it in an LLC's name. On yours, I don't think they're allowed to be in the home, but I will double check. I know this one's very specific to investor. It might not matter. Do they own the house already?
I'm just thinking like creative solutions, right? It's a 40-year fix. And if you have a fourplex and 3 of them are cash flowing the property, could somebody live in that 4th unit?
Okay, I see. So if you're buying it as an investment property, it's just gonna go off the 1007. So if it can self cash flow, and if you wanted to move into one of those, it doesn't really matter. If you're buying it, you'd probably want to do it as, I'll check. I'm actually not sure, but I have a feeling that you can't purchase it as an owner occupied investment property. You would have to purchase it as an investment property. And then once it closes, you could move into it. But before then, you would have to have a different residence, most likely. But I'll double check on that.
You just have to pay yourself rent.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And then something else that I think is going to pop up a little bit more. I just got a Tidewater initiative. And what that is when VA appraisers determine that the property is going to not appraise, they will issue what's called a Tidewater initiative, which gives us about 3 days to come up with comps in order to support the value, which means the agent has 3 days to support the value with comps. So I think we're going to start to see a few more of these, just because if prices continue to come down and there's a lack of comparisons, that we're going to see these. But if you do have a VA buyer or someone purchasing your listing that is VA, you might want to just have that in the back of your mind and maybe have comps on standby so that you can just send them to the lender if it pops up. So that's just something to remember, that with other loans, they're just going to submit a report that's low. But with VA, they give you a last chance to determine basically to support the value, but they will not tell you how low it is. So it's more of a guessing game, and you guys, basically the agent needs to determine what comps are needed. So yeah, and then on interest rates, they're kind of fluctuating. They came down today and yesterday. So honestly, the best verbiage is, if you like it, lock it. If you have clients that are looking around, just if you like it, lock it, because chances are they're going to continue to increase. And we get these little breaks sometimes where they do peter down 0.5% almost. So yeah, just remember that. If you have people, I don't know, I think I'm going to wait for them to come down. If you like it, lock it. We also have a float down option. So if you are working with us and you lock it, we can float you down one time for free. Before closing, about 20 days before, 15 to 20 days before closing. So that's all I've got. Any questions?
Hey, Michael?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want you to hang on for a second. I had something I want your input on.
Okay.
We're going to go down the rabbit hole of inspections and feasibility and contracts forum for the next probably 2-3 weeks, because it's a lot of information. There's over 20 forms that have to do with different types of inspections and notices with feasibility and inspection. Didn't realize there were so many until I started diving into this thing. But I ran across something where inadvertently brokers could create a situation where they're trigger a Class B fraud. And it was a surprise to me. And it has to do with inspections. When you're using Form 35R as you're negotiating, and if you either move away from that form and start using a Form 34 and don't link it correctly, or if there's things agreed that change the scope of work or devalue potentially in the lender's mind for what's going on with that, and it isn't disclosed and you don't make copies and send them to the lender, is a Class B fraud. So you need to be sending your contract and the addendums that you write to your contract, but be particularly careful for things what's going on with inspections when you're negotiating. Problem with the foundation or the roof or something. And
In the doghouse.
on that topic, because we're going to be going down that discussion, Michael, with you on the phone as a lender, do you have anything that you could contribute for the brokers from your point of view? What's good to share with you?
Let me That's a good question. Hold on.
There was a whoop.
Sorry, my dog is going nuts right now. Okay. He's just no, come here, stop. Sorry. So that let's see. So you're referring to if the inspection calls out, like, let's just say for this, a roof, and it's going to be negotiated in the contract that the roof is going to be replaced, and you're going to put that on the 35R, you would need to send that to the lender, or else if you left it off, that would be a Class B fraud. Is that, I'm understanding what you're saying?
It is.
Okay. Versus if you were to, or if there was going to be any credit involved. So let's say if it was worded on the 35R, roof not in great shape, seller to give $5,000 credit as far as closing costs go, then that would need to be given to the lender, or else that is fraud.
That's what we're getting at, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I'm okay.
Yeah, the way it was laid out, because I went to a contrast class, I don't know, 2 weeks ago over at CTAC with Annie Fitzsimmons. And what they were getting at is that when you have a change of scope of work in terms of that contract, the lender needs to be notified of that. So that if there's any change in the value of the property, either up or down, that's brought to the attention of the lender. And if that doesn't happen, if that isn't disclosed, it's a failure of disclosure, then it's a Class B fraud. And I never,
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Interesting.
But as a lender, I mean, I've always had the habit of sending the initial complete purchase and sale agreement. And anytime I write an addenda to the lender as well as to the buyer. But I never thought about what happens when you're doing something with inspection and 35R. That was totally new to me. And I was going, wow, we're all laid open for that. If we're not aware of it, we stay on top of it.
Well, so I guess my only thought on that, and you can, because this is just an open discussion, my only thought would be if anytime you bring light to light, something that needs to be done on the property, if something's going to get fixed, that's one thing. Yeah, we want to know about it, that's fine. But anytime there's something that needs to, there's something that's not technically in great shape and you're going to get credit for it, do you think you could say, like on the 35R, and just change it to seller to give credit of 5,000 and not reference why necessarily? You're still giving the credit and it's on the 35R and it's due to inspection response, but or is it full disclosure? This is why. This is just an honest question of how you would write that up.
Yeah, my understanding is it's just like need to know basis, like that doesn't need to be in the contract, so it shouldn't be in the contract. Any explanation of why, like we just want the facts in there. Is that what you guys think, Marcia?
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
That was all.
Well, that brings up a good point, because if you, as soon as you mention something that needs to be fixed and you have that on a 35R, it will be addressed. And now you open yourself up to a lot of stuff on the lending side. The underwriter is going to look at that and they're going to say, okay, now that needs to be done and the roof's not in great shape, we want a roofing inspector to go out there to determine, oh, now it's not that good, it needs to be replaced. So now you kind of open yourself up to where you were just wanting to do a simple, here's the credit for this particular item. Now you're turning this into a potential renovation loan or something else that expands farther out than you even wanted it to. So I'm just wondering if you can just keep it to facts, 35R, seller to give $5,000 credit, boom, done. You're not mentioning why they're getting the credit, they're just getting it. And if that's allowed and you guys, and that, passes contract class or it's all by the book, then that's how I would probably write it up.
Yeah, I would say that's the ultimate question, is what are we legally obligated to disclose in a 35R?
I think the challenge is that it's a lot of times subjective.
Yep.
So the lender hires the appraiser to value the house and to call out any potential issues. So if it's something like the appraiser said, I need you to do a roofing inspection, you have to deal with that, right? Because that's the job of the appraiser. It's not just to provide value, it's to provide condition. If it's something else that is more subjective in nature, I think just saying the credit is fine. We can dive
That's-
into it a little bit more, Tom, but
Yeah.
I think generally speaking, if it's a subjective issue that the appraiser didn't talk about in the appraisal, then I would keep it clean.
That's always been the advice I've received, is that when possible, ask for credits rather than specific repairs.
Yeah, and you can use that. You can cross over to mortgage credits, right? Or cross over to points, or cross over
Perfect.
to
Yeah.
the net. That conversation about net to your client is often overlooked. When we get hung up on one particular thing, yet it accomplishes net. If we just do it differently, it's the same, right? And
Yeah.
it's more streamlined.
There's some small items that I've seen buyers ask for before, that if they had simply taken a credit towards a buy down, that monthly savings would have more than paid for the part of the fence that needed to be fixed or
Mhm.
things like that. So there's a whole nother conversation to slide into. And that has to do with buyer counseling.
Yeah, where fraud would come in is if somebody said, the appraiser said, hey, that roof's not good.
Right.
And the buyers and sellers were like, hey, if you just sell it to me give me $5,000, I'll deal with the roof later. And then you write an addendum that says, hey, the roof's fixed. And we did $5,000 and then we lied, right? We basically got together and said, we can solve this with money, and we'll just tell the bank we did it.
Yeah.
That's fraud.
Mhm.
Clearly.
You're actually
Well,
intentionally
and
lying.
that's because it's material change.
Yeah, it's something the appraiser had called out.
I'm talking about inspectors, but they're not same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will have to dive deeper into that. I'm interested to learn more.
Yeah,
about.
this is a topic that I don't think there's an easy answer to. I think
It's tough.
when they're having a lender like Michael, that's why I want your input on it, and I think we should kick it around. Because we need a
Yeah,
protocol.
definitely. That's important because it
Have a
it
standard
comes up.
way of
It
doing it.
definitely comes up more often than you'd want it to, with how agents respond to the inspection response. So with the 35R, I feel like the less is better. You can be you can be very upfront with the credits that are there, but you start mentioning stuff on the appraisal side. That's one thing you have to do what the appraiser calls out. But on the inspection side, we don't want it. We don't want the inspection. The lender never sees it. Therefore, the 35R is an extension of the inspection, which we don't typically, want stuff on there if it needs to be fixed or yada, yada, yada. So yeah, no, I mean, that's a good point. And I think it'd be a good conversation to dive into a little deeper.
Ashley, did you say you're good? Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for
Yeah.
opening that up. Michael, I did have a quick question about the investor thing, but I think I'll shoot you an email about it because it's a little left field, but yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sweet. We got that. Thank you, JR. One more person hopping in. There's the notifications are so tiny on the screen up there. And speaking of JR, tomorrow morning, we got broker tour. You will be caravanning / carpooling with our very own JR Cooper here. It should be a lot of fun. Yeah, and I'll make sure you get a list later tonight because I noticed I tried to do it Tuesday afternoon one week, and I checked it the next day and it was double the size. A lot of listing agents will get those broker tour things in there 9 p.m. that night. So anyway, I'll make sure you got a full list, but that'll be a ton of fun. I've loved going on brokers tour. There's so many agents that I've digitally interfaced with that, I've never been able to put a face and a voice to a name, and getting out on broker tour enables that. So yeah, get out there and do that. Lunch and learn tomorrow. Also, you're going to want to be here for that. Scott Thompson of Premier One and Sage Homes is going to be going over winning with developers. He's going to be talking about a couple of things. Number one, not all the homes in a development are often listed, right? So that's one thing you got to keep in mind. So if you've got buyers who are interested in a development, but they saw a floor plan and they were like, this just won't work, the flow doesn't work. Often there's 5 or 6 floor plans in a development, and there may be a floor plan that fits them that isn't listed. So that's an important point. And also, different developers, especially now that the market has shifted, are much more willing to negotiate. And they have a lot of leverage because they've got this inventory. They want to keep sales prices up, but they will do buy downs. They will do a lot of other concessions. And so get in there, negotiate, encourage your buyers. Oftentimes with developers, there's a little more wiggle room now. So let them know. And if they had been thinking about, in the example of Sage Homes, they got one in East Wenatchee called Sagebrook. They got one up here in Sunny Slope called Pheasant Hills. There's still plenty of inventory in both of those, and it's slowed down, and they're ready to haggle. So Scott will be taking us through kind of the specifics of that. You'll want to be here for that lunch and learn tomorrow at noon. Scott's bringing snacks. I don't know what it is, but it should be good. I don't want to overhype it, but snacks, I don't know. It's hard to overhype snacks. I love snacks. All right. So that's broker tour and lunch and learn tomorrow. I will not be here either. Russ and I are hitting the road tomorrow and Thursday. So I'll miss y'all, but it should be a good time. Realtor casino night. A lot of people be asking, Loren, how can I be fancy like you? This hat was only $1.25 at the dollar store. It was $1.25. They had to raise their prices, you know, in this economy. But it is a very fancy hat. And I really want to go to this. I've already got my tickets. Just full disclosure, I'll be there regardless. Monica says she's going. That's going to be so much fun. If you want to party with me, and if you were down in Florida in February, just ask Monica, ask a few other people. I can dance. I can party. I know. Sometimes I'm all about the facts and a very straight face, but I can party. I really can. I can get into it. I'm a big guy, so I'll own it. But let's get a group together and let's go. It's going to be a ton of fun. That'll be this Friday, October 28th. Love it. And then I wanted to make sure you guys saw this. Alpine Group has their first annual Halloween pet parade. This is adorable. It's going to be in Leavenworth. They're starting at Gustav's. Bring your pets. There will be prizes. There will be a costume contest. If you've got competitive pets, a lot of us have competitive pets who really want to get out there and work. You know, you better work. So it's sponsored by A Paw Above and Alpine Group and the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society. Should be a ton of fun, so don't miss that. It's going to be very spooky and very adorable. And then we got Command Con. That's a couple weeks out, but I wanted to let you guys know, if you have questions about this, reach out to me. It is a virtual event. We'll be hosting it here. I'm sure we'll have snacks. Again, snacks is the name of the game. This will be on a Wednesday, November 9th. It will be in lieu of Brokers Tour, and this will be our lunch and learn. It'll be an extended lunch and learn. But if you tried out Command a couple years ago and you were like, oh, this is clunky, I don't know what's going on with this, and you were just like, you know, I got whatever other CRM, or I'm going to use my spreadsheets, I'm going to use my phone. A lot of people I talk to still just use their phone to catch up with people. Get into Command. There are several presenters here who run multi-million-dollar businesses 100% in Command. Like, they literally have no other lead generation program, nothing else. They do it all from Command. Not saying that's how you have to run your business, but there's plenty of value in this. So I'm going to continue plugging it. You're going to get annoyed by me. It's fine. But I'm really looking forward to Command Con. Then we got Family Reunion coming up in February. I'm stoked.
That's at 11 o'clock. It's really at 9 o'clock.
It's actually, oh yeah, I want to go back.
9
Yeah,
o'clock or
so
8 o'clock?
Eastern Standard Time, it will be 8 o'clock here.
8 o'clock.
It will start at 8 o'clock. It will go till about noon. There will be lots of opportunity for Q&A. But 8 to noon, I know it's 4 hours, but there's going to be lots of breaks. It's going to be exciting. I'm going to make sure it's exciting because I'll be here. But yeah, there's that. And we got Family Reunion. West Coast is the best coast. We're going to be here in Anaheim. It's going to be a ton of fun. Marcia, you got a question
Yeah, on that last.
on the last one? Yeah,
We can do it from Chelan. for Zoom.
you can do it from Chelan. Yep. So Chelan peeps, you want to hook up with Tom and Marcia?
Land team together.
Let's be clear about this too. This is free, right? I got you the best discount ever. It is free. So yeah, it's just gonna be 4 hours of your time, and it's gonna be worth it. All right. So again, Family Reunion, Anaheim, February, in person only. They do not have virtual this year.
Hey,
And then we got
The thing about that,
this.
for people who, I mean, I'm here 2 years, but when I say in order to receive a medallion, if you qualify, how do we know if we qualify? What does that mean?
There are a series of awards. Russ might know better. Kelly would probably be the person, and she's been out sick. If you guys get an opportunity, please text her, wish her well. She is recovering, but she's been out sick. Kelly would probably know best about those awards categories. She's got access to all the records. But yeah, they are cool medallions though. I've seen a few of them. If you want bling, that's it.
And this year, I think Bruce already told me a couple days ago when I was in Texas that they've rented all of Universal Studios.
I love Universal. Oh man, just the Harry Potter ride alone. It's amazing. The Quidditch ride. Okay, and then we got contracts class in a few minutes here in the office or via the same Zoom link. So that's it from me. I'm going to go ahead and pop off of here, but I will see you guys in a few minutes on contracts class. You won't want to miss it. We'll be breaking into inspections and feasibility. All right. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Work.